So we're doing the Magpie sprint 2 review. This sprint spanned 4 weeks. We had layer 1, 2, 3 in there, so we wanted to make sure there was plenty of time to get through that. So we'll go ahead and get started on platform. Jordan?
Yeah, so not much going on the platform this sprint. So we've been working on upgrading Atomics, but which has some performance fixes and log compaction fixes, but that's going to hold over into the next sprint to do some more work on log compaction. And then there was one issue that was added sort of in the middle of the sprint, which was ONOS 7100, which is a start at improving mastership election times. There's some more work to do there in the future, but at least the initial work has been merged.
Okay, thanks, Jordan. Simon?
Yeah, so for the Web UI Brigade, a number of tasks completed and a bug, as you can see. We didn't get everything done, but we were kind of close. The two of interest, perhaps, are the 7021 and 6877. In the application view of the UI, there's now a filter box, so you can start typing text, and it'll filter by that text, so you can narrow down the list of applications if you're looking for something in particular. And then there was already filtering of port traffic on the ports view, but we've added a little logic box where you can actually say, show me ports with bytes greater than a value, less than a value, and so on, greater or greater than, and equal. So those are kind of cool, those. Let's see, what else? And then there are the time box tasks of working on the code coverage and just getting the topology 2 differential between that and the classic topology. Is still work in progress. So any questions on that one?
Yeah, these are great candidates for demos. I was wondering if there are any demos related to these, or maybe next time.
Yeah, I got a last minute request to cover this, so I'm not set up for demos this time. But sure.
Okay, yeah, we're trying to get more demos done as part of these reviews. So.
Okay, I will pass that on.
Okay, that's great. Thanks. Localization? Okay,
so standing in for Elisa. Yeah, for this, we are, this is again still work in progress. We have had some updates to a lot of the bundles. We're still, so recently, probably since last time we spoke, we've got new languages, at least translators for those languages in Turkish, French, and Greek. As you can see from the chart here, the which one is it? Greek and French are still red columns because we haven't got them started to work. We're trying to bootstrap those translators into how to contribute. But it's very encouraging to see that. There was a development task 6733, which was to work on the internationalization of the flows view. The community member who had offered to do that actually a little later got back in touch with us and said he had overestimated his ability to be able to commit time to ONOS, and so we had to basically take that back off the table. But on a positive side, we've heard that Abdul Halim from the Teaching Brigade has some students that he is trying to encourage to get involved with this effort to actually do some localization development, which is cool. I think we've heard that we've got a potential German translator and also Portuguese. So still moving forward.
Okay, thanks, Simon. Packet Optical?
Packet Optical, so this sprint we had a great contribution from the hands-on service providers from Equinix and their vendor Polaris. And we now have more fully featured device driver for Polaris Fiber Switch and Sienna transponders. And also they've been contributing REST API to expose these kind of optical classical characteristics to the outside system. So things are a little bit getting better and better. That's it.
Okay, thanks, Yuta. Virtualization. I don't think Claudine will be able to join. They've been doing some OF agent work to handle flow mods. And then virtualization core stuff to support virtual flow, enable, disable. There's a bunch of stuff in progress, but I think they're hoping to be able to get to more of it next sprint. Dynamic config.
So that dynamic config. So the blocker bug that was preventing talking open config model down to device happened to be somewhere in the document tree, and we were able to identify and fix that issue. So we finally have dynamic config being able to talk open config down to a simulator, but what a netcon speaking node that understand open config. So that was it. And so there was several design issues in existing netcon stuff. So in the background, we've been modifying that API to a better form, step by step. And other thing is sort of a application restructuring kind of thing. So many Yang model reference this common Yang model defined by IETF and so on. So we added a mechanism so that we can share those kind of implementation by multiple Yang model, and that was implemented. Moving forward, we will be doing sort of a gap analysis from the input we got from the people doing demo using this mechanism, and also issue identified throughout this debugging process. So we will, in the next step, we'll be analyzing the gap first, then come up with a roadmap later on. That is about it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Yuta. I'll follow up with you on the simulator. We're doing some config on the southbound too, so it would be interesting to understand that more. And then GRPC. So the GRPC brigade worked on the meter service, component config service. So the meter service doesn't have unit testing, component config service has unit testing, region service with unit tests. Also the GRPC service registration in a static bind manner. So they're exposing services over port. And refactored meter service. In progress, there's packet service, group service, and flow objective. What they're looking at doing is being able to support the one ping application in the next sprint. And then under review is application service, meter service, host service, and then topology service and path service. The gotcha is that there are 2 ZT team members that have transitioned to higher priority tasks within their company, so they're a bit shorthanded. So I've talked to David about getting folks to contribute to that brigade. So the plan for the next sprint from that team is to kind of finish the in progress, finish reviewing or finish the items under review, to start implementing the GRPC client application, which is one ping. They're trying to figure out if it's going to be in another language or in Java just to get it done really fast, and then be able to add one or more. If there's time, they may add one or more northbound services after that. But the thought would be like a Java app or a Python app, and maybe do that in parallel. Build and package brigade. Have we heard from this brigade? They weren't.
So there hasn't been much going on this sprint from this brigade. The only real work around build and package that has been done is Ray's been doing a little bit of work on investigating build tools, and I've been working with Luca and the Linux Foundation on the migration of Jenkins from ON.Lab to Linux Foundation. So I guess these activities really aren't covered under the scope of the, like, nominally they're under the scope of build and package, but they're not necessarily work being done by brigade members, because neither Ray nor I are technically a member of the brigade. So,
do we know if they're looking at participating in the next sprint?
So I unfortunately haven't been on a call with that brigade in a while. The call was canceled for ONOS build. Then it didn't happen the next week. This week it was canceled due to Diwali. And that's been my primary means of communication with the brigade. So.
Okay, I'll go ahead and add a sprint, and then we'll see if there are any stories. P4?
Yes. Yeah, maybe the font is too small. So the biggest achievement was the layer 1, 2, 3 demo, and there you can see all the stories related to make that work. We also did some improvements of the current P4 runtime support by adding support for action profiles and groups. So now you can program groups using the existing ONOS API. There's also UI support for the pipeconf information, device path information. We also did some investigation work for GNMI support, fixed some bugs related to the way we do the encoding and decoding of product bus messages, and also did a bit of a cleanup of the PI stuff, especially in the form of actually consolidating all the pipeconf related files like P4 source code and pipeconf classes under one directory, which is now the pipelines directory in the ONOS. In progress, there is one big story, which is this refactoring of the PI pipeline model abstractions. I'm doing this. That's clear that this is way more work than what I initially estimated, so that's why it's still in progress. There's a pipeline implementation for Tor.P4 that's in progress, and the reason is that during the sprint, we understood this was unnecessary for the demo, so we kind of put that in low priority. And finally, there's a brigade community member, Frank, which is working on the support for the meters, and this is actually blocked partially by the refactoring, so that's why this is still in progress. And that's all.
Okay, thanks, Carmela. And then we actually will be showing the demo that we did at layer 1, 2, 3 as a YouTube video, since our switches are being shipped back.
Yeah.
And then ISSU?
So this sprint was really ISSU's first full sprint as a brigade. Well, actually, we started a few days after the sprint began. So what we were focused on was implementing basically the protocol that's been documented. And so we got most of the major pieces of that. There are lots of new ISSU commands and tests that test the upgrade protocol, which upgrades nodes and switches mastership between versions. But we still have a lot of stuff in review because of issues with testing early in the week. So yeah, there are some like 7088 is just an issue for handling of some of the data, and same with 7094. A bug fix for handling changes to application versions during upgrades, and then ISSU permissions, and then more work on isolating state for eventually consistent map and other primitives. And so this is all in a demoable state right now, but I'll be demoing it actually after the next sprint, when we should have it more cleaned up and working better. In progress is still, so this is a task that Shivani is doing, and she's taking some time off to look for work. So it's that in progress task is potentially going to be slow going, but it's not critical. So, and that's it.
Okay, thanks, Jordan. QA?
For QA, so in the sprint, we looked into several test failures and found.
Can you speak up, please? I cannot hear you.
Okay. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Mark?
Better.
Yeah, it's better, much better. Thank you.
No problem. So we looked into several failures, test failures, and fired several bugs. I'll talk about the higher priority bugs in the next slide, but here we also fixed the scaling topology test, and now ONOS can scale up to 50 by 50 torus topology. And we look into the delta failures, and it seems delta itself is broken, so we're still waiting for the response from the delta team. We also did some work for the PEP8 for map checking for test on, and several other miscellaneous improvements to documentation and Jenkins plus Slack, and also the wiki graphs. At work in progress, we have still working on some improvements to the Docker test and the intent installation and withdrawal test, and some fix to the scripts that affected by PEP8 check. Also, we have two other work in progress, the ISSU system test and the testing of outflow restore. I think these two have other dependencies. I'm not sure about ISSU, but for the outflow restore, we're still waiting to get back the outflow restore. Okay, next slide. So in this sprint, we resolved 8 bugs, created 13 bugs, and now we have 97 open bugs in total. The high priority bugs, so I want to highlight the first two, which is we get flows stuck in pending add state after bringing up and down several times. And it's really easy to reproduce. And also the second, after we do push test intents several times, or even with a larger number of intents, we get flows stuck in pending add state. The rest of the bugs are carried over from the earlier sprints, I think, but they are still valid, I believe. Okay.
Okay, thanks. So Magpie Sprint 3, sorry, I don't know why there's Zoom schedule, but we're in Sprint 3. It's going to be feature free. So what we want to do by November 10th is make sure that functionality is reviewed and merged. I think what we want to do is, as part of the sprint review, and this came up last time, was there were some exceptions. The preferences are no exceptions, but if we do have exceptions, let's make sure we understand what they are and what timeline it's going to take to get those in. So as part of Sprint 3 review, can you please come to the meetings with the specific exceptions? Thank you, Yuta, if you're going to be fixing that. So can you come to the Sprint review with the exception and the time frame, and part of it is we need to assess whether the exception makes sense, and we'll wait for it as part of the release. And similar to what you did, Ray, last time, if you can take a look at some of the outstanding reviews, and we can kind of make that assessment as part of the review also. And then we'll have Sprint 4 after that, and then the release is slated for November 30th. What we'll do is, the sprint planning is on Monday at 4 p.m. I'll close the sprints out by end of the day. The nice thing about the upgrade to Jira is I can move your remaining stories from the current sprint to the new sprint, so those will be automatically moved over. If you can look through those, see if there are any new stories that you need to add for the reviews, the planning on Monday, that would be great, and to do that before 4 p.m. on Monday. And then in terms of demos, we'll run the demo, except it'll be a YouTube video, and then you get to hear the great voiceover that Andre did. Okay, so are there any questions or comments before I start that? Okay, nothing. So we will start this.
Yeah, and sound is very low in this video. I don't know if you're gonna find a way to increase it.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, so this is the list spline topology. So list to spline connected to ONOS. The control is using P4
So,
we're using a so we're using a P4 program provided by Google called Tor.P4. Tor.P4 represents the ideal pipeline that Google wants to use in their data center.
so we have a volume problem, right?
Italian. I don't hear a problem.
So do we want to continue with it, try to fix the volume thing, or do we want to just try to do this demo live in the next sprint when we get our equipment back?
I can all cover this.
Okay, so the volume is low enough that you guys aren't, it's not impacting.
We can't hear it at all.
Oh.
I'm not going to go to meeting, redirect the audio of your computer to the call.
Okay, so.
Direct the audio of your computer to the call. So you'd have to like either plug a cable from out into mic in, or you'd have to put your phone really close to the microphone, to the speaker.
Yeah, well, I'm fine, I'm fine doing the voiceover live.
Okay, we'll have Carmelo do the voiceover live.
Yeah, okay, so this is the topology. I already explained this. 2 leads to spine, ONOS using P4 time, yes, and this is a picture of the actual topology. The LEDs are all on, and there's a little act that he did during the demo. Okay, let's wait for the next.
And we didn't have enough to do a Christmas tree, or else we would.
Okay, so this is the terminal view. On the top left, you can see the console over the 4 switches in which we're running the switch process. When running the switch process basically starts a GRPC server that waits for a connection and then talks to the ASIC on the switch. Below we have ONOS. We're ready to run ONOS, but you can't see, and it's too small, but anyways, we're running ONOS with a minimum set of applications, including the barefoot drivers and the LLDP link discovery application, the proxy ARP, and the PI Tor applications, which is an application crafted for this demo and that works on the specific pipeline. So while we wait for ONOS to start, I can say a few things. So the way P4 runtime works is a RPC-based communication protocol. So you have a client and a server. The switch is the server, ONOS is the client. So the way we discover switches and ONOS is by pushing a JSON to ONOS with the IP address of the GRPC server, the port of the server, and also the let's say the ID of the pipeline we want to deploy on the switch. Because in this case, ONOS maintains has knowledge of all this pipeline. So ONOS is starting. Okay. All right. Now we're going to push the configuration. So we can see that ONOS received the config. The first thing, it pushes down the P4 program, or at least the compiled artifacts of the P4 program. In this case, a binary and a JSON that are the output of the Tofino compiler. And then it starts by pushing down, in this case, it starts, the messages you see on the terminal windows are gRPC messages to read counter entries. Now, on the right, we started generating some traffic along with some ARP packets. The ARP packets are used by the PI Tor application in ONOS to discover the topology. And once the full topology has been discovered, the expected one, we installed the flow rules and groups. And you can see the logs related to groups and flow rules in the bottom part of the screen. So yeah, now traffic is flowing in the network. Here we show what the netCFG JSON looks like. As I was saying before, you have for each device the IP address and port of the gRPC server. Yes, the import. Then we have the pipeconf ID that we're deploying on the device. In this case, should be something like, you can clearly see, but Tofino Tor. Yeah, Tofino Tor. Now this is the ONOS UI. log in. And here are the 4 switches, the nice labels on top, 2 hosts, and now we're going to activate 4 statistics. Yes, and we can see the traffic swung. So we're generating 40 gigabits of traffic. They're being split into 2 parallel paths using equal cost multipath. Equal cost multipath case is a capability of Tor.p4. We're leveraging to actually balance the traffic. The reason why we cap it to 40 gig is that because the interface we have on the server are maximum 40 gigabits per second. But the switch ports, I think, can go up to 100 gigabits per second. What else? I don't know what's going to be in the next move in the video. Okay, yes, so we can click on the device and we can access some more information.
So do you want to continue or do we call it good?
I think we can, yeah, I think we can call it.
Yeah, I think we're So there's the demo we showed at layer 1, 2, 3. Live, of course.
Yeah.
And our switches will be coming back. So if you guys want to see this in action in Menlo, grab any member of the team. Okay, I think we're done for the meeting. So if there are any other questions or comments? No? Okay. Let's...
Yeah. We're using Tor.p4 in both lift and splines, which sounds misleading because it's top of rack switch. I'm not sure if I can say more about this, but
No. Unfortunately not.
No.
Okay, so sprint planning is next Monday, right?
Yes.
All right.
At 4 p.m. So I'll create the, I'll close down the sprints in Jira. After this, create the new ones, but since it's the upgraded version of Jira, I'll just move the stories that are not done to the new sprints, and then you guys can just go in and kind of modify that for the meeting on Monday.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.